Well, hi, everyone. Welcome to our digital session, Speedy and Effective Issue Resolution at Bombas with Jira Service Management as part of Atlassian Team 23. My name is Clayton Chancey. I am an enterprise solutions architect at Cprime, which is an Atlassian Platinum Solutions partner, and I lead the ITSM practice at Cprime. I'm joined today by James Kittle, who is the VP of IT and CISO at Bombas, who will share his story of how Bombas, partnering with Cprime, is accomplishing steady issue resolution with the help of JSM. James, good to see you.
Hi, Clayton. It's nice to see you too.
Would you mind sharing a little bit more about Bombas as an organization and what your mission and goals are?
Yeah, absolutely. Bombas is a mission-driven company, mostly direct to consumer. And our mission at Bombas since day one has been to help those who are experiencing homelessness. So that's why for every single pair of socks or item of clothing that we sell, we donate an item, a similar item, to somebody that is currently experiencing homelessness. And to date, Bombas has been able to sell over 75 million pairs of socks and some t-shirts and some underwear as well. And that means that we've donated over 75 million items of clothing to people that are experiencing homelessness. And that's all thanks to our wonderful customers.
That's awesome. It's an awesome mission. I was very excited to be a customer of Bombas before, during, and after working with you guys on this project. So tell me a little bit more about your role as the VP of IT and CISO at Bombas.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm responsible for technology operations and information security here at Bombas. And prior to joining Bombas, I worked in a number of different companies. I was in a few different industries. I worked, for instance, at Rent the Runway. I also worked at WeWork. And prior to that, I worked in consulting, professional services for IT. And I also worked in a big law firm. So here at Bombas, I'm part of a really, really amazing team. It's really a unique and wonderful company, and I'm really happy to be here.
I'd love to hear, since we're talking about ITSM, your perspective as a leader within your organization of ITSM. How important do you think that ITSM is at a growing organization like Bombas?
You know, it's a great question. Technology is absolutely essential to the business of Bombas. And I think that technology is really essential to a lot of businesses today, if not every business. But here at Bombas, technology enables our storefront, right? So we sell a lot of our socks on the internet, and technology is intrinsic to that. It enables our manufacturing and supply chain operations. It's central to how we design the socks. It's central to how we are able to market and do customer acquisition. So it's really, really big part of the business. And, you know, as I said before, we've sold over 75 million pairs of socks. And we've also given away 75 million pairs of socks. And that's really two different businesses. There's the business of selling and there's the business of giving. And technology is central to both facets of that business. IT service management is essential to keeping the business going then, right? You know, we saw this during COVID, for instance, that many businesses recognized that their IT workers were essential workers. Simply without IT, the business doesn't run. So that's certainly very true here at Bombas. And so the IT service management process and function is absolutely critical to keeping the business going.
Right. So let's talk about how you built that out. And when before we even engaged with you, did you have an ITSM solution in place at Bombas? What were some of maybe the challenges or the pain points you were experiencing that led you to exploring a new solution?
Absolutely. So Bombas has always been a very successful company, really, since day one. The company's been successful, and IT has always been an important business unit and a partner to the business. But like a lot of fast-scaling companies, and even some slow-growing legacy companies, a lot of our technical support was ad hoc, right? So, for example, people would ask IT for help either by emailing IT members directly or by maybe sending an email blast out to a bunch of different people. They might just stop by our desk. So while we would solve these problems that were presented, we didn't really know a lot about how many requests we were resolving as a team, as a company. We didn't know necessarily what sort of problems we were solving. So there wasn't a lot of data that we could use. It's a common story in IT. We were spending a lot of time on firefighting and not so much time on fire prevention. So this can be effective. Ad hoc IT operations certainly do work, but it doesn't really scale very well. And it can be vulnerable and risky under the stress of growth. So to move from an ad hoc ITSM, we needed a framework that we could use, that we could build a more efficient and scalable process. And ITIL was something that we identified as being a really robust and comprehensive, a tried and true framework for IT service management. We knew that it would enable our workflow. And then we also knew that we needed a system that we could build out these ITIL processes on. So Bombas is it's a fast growing company, and IT needed to be able to grow with the rest of the business.
Yeah, and like you said, that I feel that is a common story. Like you said, this kind of dual need for standardization and increased efficiency, but also visibility on that work, which kind of leads right into the selection of a tool, of an ITSM solution. So maybe a good question would be, well, okay, what stood out about JSM, about Jira Service Management, that led to you selecting that as your ITSM tool of choice?
Well, first and foremost, we already had Atlassian here at the company. So our software engineering team was using and making very good use of Jira software. They were using Confluence for an internal wiki and content management. And second, I had worked with Atlassian products at my previous two positions. So we had Atlassian with Jira Service Management, Confluence at Rent the Runway, and also at WeWork. And those were two very different environments and different sizes. We had about 1,500 people at RTR, more than 15,000 at WeWork. And so I knew that this system was very scalable and could be adapted in a varying size of environment. I knew that it was stable. I knew that it was a mature technology, something that we could invest in. I knew that it had a lot of the features that we wanted to have. So like a portal, it would integrate with all of our other systems, or many of our other systems. So things like Google Workspace, things like Slack, DocuSign, you name it, all the other tools of the business that integrated nicely with Atlassian. At WeWork, we worked, for instance, on a Jira Service Management project where we integrated our IT asset management system. So we could do advanced reporting on all of the tickets that we were taking in, and correlate that with some asset management as well. And I knew ITIL and Jira Service Management would work nicely together, that Jira Service Management was built for ITIL, and I knew it would work great with Bombas. What I didn't know was who might help us build out the Atlassian tools so we could implement ITIL Service Management.
Right. So you teed me up perfectly for my next question, which is, okay, we're kind of walking through your process of what's a tool that we could work with that can help us achieve our business goals. So, but what then did lead you to approach an outside implementation team, namely Cprime, to build this out rather than trying to get it done internally alone?
Yeah, well, I knew that my team didn't have the bandwidth to build out all of the solutions. So we could have done it if we had maybe if we worked 18 hours a day instead of the 16 that we work regularly, but it would take a lot of time. So we needed a partner, and we needed a partner that understood Atlassian. We needed a partner that understood ITIL, and we needed a partner that could work with us at the scale and the pace at which our business was operating. Very, very important. And there's another instance where some of my prior experience helped. I worked with Cprime at WeWork, where we leveraged Cprime's remote resources. So if we needed to get a piece of coding done, we could throw that over to Cprime, and the next morning it would be ready. We also had contract employees that were embedded as if they were full-time employees with our teams at WeWork. We didn't need that sort of horsepower necessarily at Bombas, but I knew that there were some certainly the capabilities that we needed, the technical capabilities that we needed were present at Cprime. So I was looking for a partner that would get us up and running really fast. Knew that would take a lot of effort initially, but we also needed somebody that would help us to make iterative changes, right? So we would have a little bit of time to work with the system and see, hey, this is working really well. This is maybe not working so well. Can you help us make some changes here? And so we needed that help with both, with getting it off the ground and then maintaining it. And there were a couple other projects that we had as well. We had a change management process that we needed to enable. That was very, very important. And we also had an IT asset management process that we needed to enable.
Yeah, and I can kind of, for our listeners here, I can kind of take you through from now crossing the table to the Cprime side, how we approached implementing this. You have all the background from James, you have the requirements. I should also add that there is an incredible amount of technical know-how and competence in IT and in ITSM on the Bombas team, which we don't always have. You don't need that competence in order to engage Cprime, but we are very lucky to have that. And so really, they just needed manpower, and they also needed someone who knew ITIL and could implement that within JSM. So when this, engagement comes across the table to me and to my team, we schedule some working sessions with James and his team. We make sure that we understand everything that James just told us, and at a very technical level of detail. And then our approach was essentially to take the JSM templates that come out of the box, which already cover these core ITSM processes like service requests, incidents, problems, changes, et cetera, taking those templates and then aligning them with ITIL terminology and, perhaps more importantly, with Bombas business requirements and Bombas customer expectations. So we're mapping those concepts that are already baked into JSM over to the corresponding customer needs and even IT team needs at Bombas. And the result, I think, was this amazing user experience, this amazing portal, which I have some screenshots here I can show you actually. This is what the help center looks like. So you can see it's branded. We've got Bombas iconography. We're using terminology that would be familiar to users of Bombas. And this experience, when they log into this page, is going to guide them to the right portal that they need to get into, which if I advance to the next screenshot, we're looking at this Tech Bees portal, which is kind of the IT help desk, if you will. We've got these various request categories here. These are not ITILified. They're not even necessarily ITSMified. They're Bombasified. And so you've got Bombas users who can navigate this seamlessly. If we clicked into the Hive technology, we would be faced again with this kind of guided experience that's whittling down what the user needs in the terms that they would know, not necessarily being an IT administrator or part of the IT group. And then behind the scenes, we're mapping it over to ITIL. So now those of you who are JSM admins, you're going to be very familiar with this screen where we're actually mapping on the left the customer-facing names of some of these entities with the admin-facing or Jira or Atlassian side. So you've got different types of forms the customer might fill out, and they're being mapped to these service requests or incidents. And we could continue looking at this and see changes and all other manner of ITSM issue types. And so the idea here was that we were going to do really not a ton of work outside of just customizing and aligning. We're not building anything from the ground up. We're not reinventing the wheel. No one wants to do that. We're aligning the Bombas expectations to ITIL and ITSM best practices, which is exactly what James wanted. So anything to add on that front, James, before we maybe talk about some of the benefits of the implementation?
No, I mean, well, the one thing I would add is the way that we were taking in tickets was really important. I had worked previously with Help, which was subsequently bought by Atlassian, and now I think people will know it as Atlassian Assist. Sorry. And it's just terrific, right? Because like a lot of businesses, we live in Slack. We love Slack. And what Atlassian Assist allows us to do is have an IT support channel. Members of the Hive can come in there and say, hey, I can't get into my account, or how do I do this? And we're able to convert that to a ticket and then transact on that ticket on both sides of the ticket using Atlassian Access and Jira. And that's just really terrific because, like all of the other things that you described, Clayton, it allows us to report on the work that we're doing and really get great visibility into the efforts of the IT service management process.
Yeah, which is amazing. And the whole point, that's the whole ball game when it comes to ITSM. So that's amazing. Yeah. So let's talk benefits here as we wind up. What are some of the benefits or some of the net wins that you would say you've experienced having implemented JSM at Bombas?
Yeah, so many of the things that we set out to do together, Clayton, we accomplished, right? It was really a terrific story of success. So we have great visibility into our IT service management process. I'm able to report to my boss on how many tickets we're taking in, how quickly we're taking them in. We're able to manage our service level agreements. We're able to manage our assets. We have a very, very robust ITIL-based change management process that's completely enabled by the Atlassian tools. But I will say, I think that the biggest success of this project has been that IT has served as an example, as a thought leader of how you can enable work at Bombas using the Atlassian tools. And as an example, I'll say our people team. Our people team now uses a lot of the same tools that we're using to do their work. So they don't use ITIL, but they do use Atlassian Assist, for instance. They have a Slack channel, Ask People. You go in there, you ask a question, it can be converted to a ticket, which then is adjudicated through the Jira Service Management module. They make good use of Confluence, of course, for wiki content management. So IT blazing a trail, showing the way to the rest of the business has been by far and away the most successful outcome of our project together.
Yeah, and it's a little bit tangential, but you guys are really on the cutting edge of something that we're seeing in the market called ESM, or Enterprise Service Management, which is just kind of the ITSMifying of non-IT business units. So you've got people, you've got marketing, you've got other business units, and they're just going to take this concept of a customer and a catalog of services that they offer to their customers, and then start to put metrics around that with SLAs and have portals. And so you guys are doing that, and a lot of people are starting to realize the benefits of that. And we see that throughout many of my consulting engagements with my clients. So for our listeners, as we wrap up, I wanted to share a couple pieces of advice for anyone who's interested in implementing JSM at their organization. The number one thing, which we kind of showed you in the screenshots, would be customizing your portal design to match your brand identity and the customer expectations at your organization. Number two would be using automation rules and hidden preset fields and all the features that JSM gives you to streamline repetitive tasks, to remove human error, to keep the user experience clean and streamlined while still giving all of your IT agents all the info they need to have in order to triage and resolve incidents. Number three would be then, with that foundation, set up SLAs. So you're actually using this system to get the visibility, get the metrics, get the reports that you need to prove your value, to establish credibility as an IT organization. And the number four, which James alluded to a moment ago, is integrate with the other Atlassian products. You have a whole suite of products that work together. I'm thinking about OpsGenie for incident management, Confluence for your knowledge base, Jira Software for those incidents that need to get developers involved to resolve those tickets. So all the Atlassian tools work together to this end. Those are those four things. Well, thank you, James, for sharing these insights, these experiences with us today. I know that you and the whole team at Bombas are continuing to empower swift, accurate IT service delivery. I'm certainly excited to continue partnering with you guys and seeing where it goes. Any other thoughts to share before we sign off?
No, I don't think so, Clayton, but it was great to catch up with you today. And I am happy to report that with the ITIL process now enabled by Jira Service Management, our ITSM is scaling and keeping pace with the fast growth of Bombas. We're looking forward to selling another 75 million items of clothing, which means that we'll be able to donate another 75 million items of clothing to people that are experiencing homelessness. And we certainly hope that Atlassian and Cprime will continue to be a part of our important mission at Bombas.
I speak for Cprime when I say we are definitely there for it. To our listeners, thank you so much for joining us. We hope you found this session to be informing and engaging. If you have questions or you just want to chat about ITSM and JSM, please don't hesitate to reach out. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. Again, I'm Clayton Chancey, Enterprise Solutions Architect at Cprime. I'd be happy to continue this conversation. And you can also learn more about Cprime's industry experience and ITSM offerings at cprime.com. Thanks, everyone, and enjoy the event.